Have you ever stopped to think about the timeless wisdom that could transform your life? What if the key to navigating life's toughest challenges and finding true happiness lies in the advice of those who've lived through it all? Today, we're delving into 15 invaluable pieces of advice from the elderly, lessons so profound they could change the way you see everything. Stay with us, since you would want not to miss the guidance that might be your turning point. Imagine if one of these revelations could be the revolutionary transformation you have been waiting for. What if following just one piece of advice could shift your perspective and enable you to clearly manage the ups and downs of life? Today we are learning 15 of these altering lessons. Our seniors have seen trends, experienced highs and lows of life, overcome obstacles, and often eludes us until we have walked a mile in their shoes. Their counsel is a goldmine of direction toward a better, more contented existence. Get cozy, grab your favorite drink, and let's investigate these concepts that might transform your life. By the time this film ends, you will see what truly important from a different angle. Remember also to offer your opinions. Tell us in the comments whatever piece of counsel most speaks to you and the reason behind it. You are on your road to a more enlightened existence right now. 1. Embrace patience. Patience is not just about waiting. It's about maintaining a positive attitude while you wait, Grandpa Joe says, relating a story from his early years to offer a basic but crucial bit of wisdom. Back then, Grandpa Joe dreamed of being a prosperous farmer just starting out, planting seeds, caring to the crops, and expecting for a large harvest. He labored nonstop, but seasons of drought and unplanned storms tried his will. He discovered the actual meaning of patience throughout these years. He came to see that his efforts would pay off only if he continued with a pleasant attitude. He modified his strategy, focused on what he could manage, and above all kept happy. Rather than letting irritation or resignation to prevail, his fields blossomed at last after months of doubt. Since he had learned to wait with grace, the gratification he felt was more profound and the harvest was plentiful. Grandpa Joe's endurance of the waiting was simply one aspect of his patience. Another was preserving faith and optimism in face of adversity, saying, "Patience is not just about waiting, it's about maintaining a positive attitude while you wait." Grandpa Joe reminds us of a vital life lesson, since it's about realizing that although we may not be able to control the timing of our dreams, we do control our reaction to the waiting period. From his perspective, patience is a wonderful buddy that may help one turn challenges into victories. Think about how often we grow irritated with waiting. Dreams to come true, relationships to flourish, or promotions. Patience is the key to turning those waiting times into opportunities for learning and growth. Should Grandpa Joe's story appeal to you? Consider how you might apply patience in your own life. Remember, it's more than just counting the days. It's about using a joyful mindset to make the days count. 2. Cherish relationships. In the end, it's not the years in your life, it's the life in your years, counsels Martha and George, an elderly couple seated on a park seat clutching hands after decades of marriage. Their smiles reveal a common past and the marks of years spent together. When they talk about their life, their counsel constantly comes back to one fundamental point. Martha and George met in a small town with modest beginnings. Their early years were filled with financial hardships and long hours at work. Still, their constant support of each other kept them going through all the trials. Years later, they look back and realize that rather than the worldly items they gained or the plaudits they attained, the depth of their connection and the manner they decided to tackle life's obstacles together defined their lives. Rather, Martha and George's story highlights a beautiful truth. Relationships are the real jewels of life. It's easy to get caught up in the chase of success and the bustle of daily activities, but the basis of a good life usually lays in the connections we develop. Spend some time thinking about the relationships in your own life. Are you giving the people most important time and effort? Are you relishing the time spent with loved ones and supporting them through trying events? Give those relationships top priority. Treasure them. Let them be the focus of your life's path. Martha and George's wisdom reminds us that finally, the love and relationships we build determine our life. 3. Prioritize health. Eleanor, a lively woman in her 80s, radiates grace and vigor. Her secret is that she has always given her health top priority. Eleanor sometimes offers a very critical piece of advice. Health is not just the absence of illness. It's the presence of well-being. Eleanor's road with health began in her 30s South, when she was juggling a demanding job and raising a family. She remembers how she used to ignore the symptoms of tiredness, believing that her busy life was just a phase. She realized the need of keeping her body in good shape only after a routine checkup revealed some alarming health issues. Eleanor began including healthier foods into her diet, started working regularly, and concentrated on mental well-being by meditation and mindfulness. Real health meant more than just avoiding disease. It was about establishing a balanced lifestyle that nurtures every aspect of her being. Eleanor's transformation was slow, but the results were remarkable. She began to view her body as a friend on her journey through life, instead of as something to be under control. Her mood improved, her energy expanded, and she became more resilient to the demands of daily life. Eleanor's story emphasizes that choosing activities that encourage vitality and balance will help you to fully appreciate the events of life, rather than a one-time endeavor. Giving health first priority is an ongoing commitment to preserving well-being. Remember, health is not only about being free from disease. It's about promoting a state of general wellness that will help you to lead the best life possible. Think about how you might take control of your health right now and consider changes you could make to improve your general wellness and enable you to lead the best life possible. 4. Learn from mistakes. Harold is a seasoned carpenter who has spent decades perfecting his trade. His workshop is full of the outcomes of his work: beautiful furniture, exquisite woodwork, and yes, a fair amount of mistakes. Harold's advice is simple but profound. Mistakes are proof you're trying. Harold made many mistakes early in his career. He recalls one specific project, grand oak dining table that went horribly wrong, where the dimensions were off and the wood didn't line up as it should. Frustrated, Harold could have given up or abandoned the project, but instead he chose to learn from it. Harold's experience highlights a crucial life lesson. Mistakes are not to be feared, but rather welcomed as chances for learning and progress. Every misstep is an opportunity to increase your abilities, reroute your path, and at last succeed. Think about your own life. How often do we allow our mistakes define us negatively? What if we regarded them as beneficial teachers instead? By shifting our viewpoint, we may turn losses into powerful teaching moments. 5. Find joy in simplicity. Imagine Lily, a retired gardener who spends her days tending a modest garden outside her cozy house. Lily's garden is proof of the beauty of simplicity. She regularly offers her favorite piece of advice: simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Lily's road to this insight was a slow one. She was caught up in the whirl of life in her younger years, chasing career achievements, social status, and material possessions. She felt a growing sense of emptiness even with her success. It wasn't until she moved to her rural cottage and started gardening that she found the great Delight of simplicity. Lily found solace in her garden. She would spend hours tending to her vegetables, planting flowers and watching the seasons change. Her great satisfaction came from these little activities, the quiet time spent in nature led her to reconnect with herself and value the basic pleasures of life. One day, Lily was tending to her roses and realized that the peace mornings in the garden, the satisfaction of a home-cooked supper, and the peaceful nights with a good book genuinely improved her life. Not complexity or luxury. Simplicity is about understanding the core of what offers us true happiness, not about rejecting modernism, but rather about achieving a deeper sense of contentment and fulfillment by cleaning our life and concentrating on what really important. Thus, pause and reflect on your own life. Are there places where simplicity could make you happier? Maybe it's time to value the tiny pleasures and find happiness in the daily happenings sometimes disregarded. 6. Pursue lifelong learning. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world, says retired Professor Edward, who never stopped studying despite his many years in academia. His life story is evidence of the impact of lifetime learning. Edward's love of knowledge began in his early years, when he read books on any topic he could come across. After decades of teaching, he might have simply retired and buried his books. Instead, Edward saw retirement as a chance to explore fresh fields of research rather than as a farewell. Edward struggled to remember vocabulary, new grammar rules, and unusual pronunciation when he decided to start up a new language in his late 70s. But he addressed these challenges with the same curiosity and eagerness he had as a young man, not determined. Through his road, he discovered that learning was about keeping his mind sharp and his spirit active rather than merely about getting new abilities. Edward would often share his experiences with his former students, urging them to consider education not as a phase, but as a lifetime journey, whether it's picking up a new hobby, diving into a new field, or just investigating topics of interest. Lifelong learning enriches our life in countless ways. Edward's story reminds us that formal education is only one aspect of learning. It's a continuous process that can keep us engaged and excited about life. Thus, think about your own life. What fresh talents or knowledge would you want to acquire? Adopting lifelong learning will open doors to new prospects and preserve active and fulfilled mind and spirit. 7. Practice gratitude. Often offering her greatest piece of advice. Gratitude turns what we have into enough. Sylvia is a late 70s woman whose walk with thankfulness began following a trying period in her life. Thanksgiving was about finding value and contentment in what she already had, not merely about enjoying the good things. This practice helped her manage challenges with a fresh feeling of hope and delight. Her story underlines how practicing gratitude could transform our lives. It's easy to get caught up in what we lack, but focusing on what we do will make a big difference in our degree of happiness and fulfillment. So stop to reflect on your own life. What are you grateful for today? By often expressing appreciation, you will be able to focus from what is lacking to the plenty all around. 8. Be generous. Retired social worker Tom dedicated his life to helping others. His life is proof of the need of compassion. His best piece of advice is, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Tom's road began when he was a young man performing various community service roles. He recalls a particular moment when he was completely committed in organizing food drives and mentoring underprivileged young people despite his busy schedule and personal problems. He felt great satisfaction in these acts of service. This episode was a turning point for Tom and made him realize that his personal problems were less important when compared to the enjoyment and relief he could provide to others. His acts of generosity not only helped people in need, but also improved his own life in ways he had not expected. Tom's story demonstrates that generosity is not only about giving tangible items, but also about investing in the well-being of others and finding purpose by selflessness. By focusing on how you might favorably impact others, you not only help them, but also find a deeper sense of fulfillment and connection. Think about how you may add more of these simple acts of kindness into your life: volunteering, supporting a friend, even just smiling. 9. Live in the present. Imagine Clara, a wise woman in her 80s, whose life is a living monument to the need of living in the moment. Her favorite piece of advice is, "The past is history, the future is a mystery, but today is a gift." Clara's experience underlines a very important lesson. Living in the current moment may greatly influence our well-being. By appreciating and thoroughly interacting with the present, we can reduce stress, improve our relationships, and find more pleasure in daily life. Therefore, spend some time thinking about your own life. Are you totally present in the events that count? By concentrating on the here and now, you will be able to enjoy the gift that daily provides and live more vividly. 10. Cultivate resilience. Resilience is not about avoiding the storm, but rather about learning to dance in the rain. Harold, a retired firefighter, says, his experiences offer a valuable lesson on how to overcome life's challenges. Harold thought of the experience. Once the fire was under control, he knew that although the outside conditions were challenging, his inner strength and resilience had made all the difference. What really mattered was his capacity to remain calm, adjust to the circumstances, and keep on through difficulty, whether it comes to family issues or health worries. Harold maintains this resilience in his personal life even after retirement. He approaches each obstacle with the same attitude, conquering challenges with courage and flexibility, and finding means of personal development throughout the experience. Harold's story teaches us that resilience is about tackling problems with fortitude and a good attitude rather than about avoiding them. It is about rebounding back from setbacks and utilizing obstacles as opportunity to get stronger and wiser rather than about avoiding issues. Thus, consider how you may build resilience in your own life. When faced with challenges, how can you react with fortitude and flexibility? Adopting resilience will help you to negotiate the storms of life and enable you to grow in spite of the difficulties. 11. Embrace change. Agnes, a polished woman in her 70s, who has gracefully negotiated many of life's transformations, says, change is the only constant in life. Embrace it and grow. Her life story is proof positive of the capacity of one to adapt to change. Agnes left behind her familiar surroundings, friends, and community when she moved to a new city for a job opportunity in her early 40s. It was challenging. At first, she struggled with emotions of loss and uncertainty, but Agnes chose to approach this new chapter with an open mind and a ready acceptance of the unknown. Gradually, Agnes found that the relocation opened doors to exciting opportunities she hadn't expected. She developed new friendships, investigated new interests, and found fulfillment in her evolving role. Agnes actively sought out fresh experiences, joined local groups, and made an effort to connect with her new community. Years later, when faced with another major transition, retirement, Agnes once more embraced the change with enthusiasm. Rather than viewing it as a farewell, she started painting, helped at a local museum, and visited sites she had always dreamed about. Agnes's story underlines that If you approach change with an open heart and positive attitude, it may also offer development and fresh opportunities, even if it can sometimes be challenging. This can assist you to make transitions into chances for personal growth and fulfillment. Thus, take into account the changes you are experiencing in your own life. Are there ways you may welcome them and find chances for development? Accepting change can lead to interesting new contacts and a life more improved. 12. Set goals and pursue them. Once Frank, a retired architect whose life was driven by purpose and desire, stated, "A goal without a plan is just a wish." His career shows how closely following and attaining goals may define a happy life. Our story starts in his early 30s, when he dreams of being a well-known architect and faces many challenges, including tight deadlines, difficult projects, and long hours. Despite these obstacles, Frank set clear goals for himself. He mapped out a thorough plan to advance his career, including continuing education, networking with business professionals, and working on varied projects to build his portfolio. Frank never stopped planning. He began focusing on personal projects like book on architectural design and mentoring young architects. Every aim kept him motivated and involved, providing his retirement years direction and relevance. Even after retirement, Frank's story teaches us that you aiming at? Are there any areas where clearly defined, realistic objectives will enable you to feel fulfilled and purposeful? 13. Practice forgiveness. Thus, think about your 80-year-old wise woman says, what goals are. Forgiveness is not about forgetting. It's about letting go of the hurt. Her life story illustrates the transforming power of forgiveness. Grace carried the weight of resentment, which compromised her mental health and taxed other relationships. Her path with forgiveness started in a trying family conflict. Years ago, Grace had a great divide with her brother over a family business issue. The argument was acrimonious and the hurt stayed with her. For years, Grace recognized that forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves, releasing us from the bonds of anger and resentment. It was not quick. She found that letting go of resentment let her reestablish her relationship with her brother and improve her personal well-being. Grace's story underlines that as it helps you to remove the emotional weight resulting from holding to resentment, forgiveness is a strong weapon for personal emancipation and healing instead of supporting past events. Thus, think about the spheres of your life where forgiveness could be helpful. Are there people or situations you should let go of? By means of forgiveness, you can start a transformative road towards emotional emancipation and improved relationships. 14. Seek balance. Retired psychologist Harold has always underlined the significance of balance in life. Balance is not something you find. It's something you create, he says. His life is a remarkable example of how finding harmony might produce a more harmonic and meaningful life. Harold was resolved to change his life and began toward a more balanced life by first evaluating his priorities and making deliberate decisions to allot time for each element of his life. He created limits at work, made time for exercise, and scheduled weekends for family and hobbies. Starting a peaceful hobby that allowed him to relax from his busy schedule, gardening became a beloved habit that offered success and peace for him. The time he spent tending to his garden grew to be. Harold's experience reveals that balance is not a set state, but rather an ongoing process of altering and realigning our priorities. It implies being conscious of our needs and making deliberate decisions to sustain harmony between job, personal life, and well-being. Therefore, consider your own life. Are there places where you should create better harmony and fulfillment by means of intentional modifications and limited constraints? 15. Cherish relationships. The most important thing in life is not what you have, but who you have. Eleanor, a gentle 80-year-old woman who embodies the essence of enjoying relationships, shows from her life narrative the significance of building strong friendships. Eleanor grew up in a close-knit family and loved the bonds she developed with friends and loved ones. Over the years, she faced the inevitable challenges of life, career moves, relocations, and personal hardships, yet she never lost sight of the need of keeping her relationships. Eleanor's story underlines how much. Thus, think about your own life. What goals are? Investing in relationships through communication, empathy, and presence enriches our life. Although relationships demand work and attention, she discovered a source of happiness and support much above any worldly goods by giving the people in her life top priority, taking time to evaluate your personal relationships and find people in your life who might need more of your attention and care will help you and the people you love to be very happy and fulfilled. You therefore have 15 wonderful pearls of wisdom from those who have gone through it all. These lessons, culled from years of experience, offer great insights on leading a more important and joyful life. Should these concepts be valuable, keep in mind to hit the subscribe button and thumbs up this video. Share this information with friends and relatives who might need some guidance. Having said that, you watched very kindly. Until next time. Both personally and professionally, we have to set goals. They give us direction, motivate us to act, and when we fulfill them, we feel successful. Thus, think about your own life.